peace and love within your heart. When God is all, is all, is all, is all there is, you'll find peace and love within your heart. When God is all there is, when God is all there is. Thank you.
Wow, right? Did you notice he was born with my voice? Wow, James, that's so great. Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to sit today. Those you don't know, I'm recovering from knee surgery, so that's kind of doing some self-care. Yeah, that's good. Thanks. That's got a bounce to it. So kind of notice our nation's in reaction, right? It's huge reaction. It's kind of the first lower vibration reaction to response to something. It's reaction. We're in it, and so, you know, what I ask myself in times like this, which I've asked a lot in the last months, is what's my response, right? And there clearly are spiritual writers that say the way to respond to reaction from a national or world or in a family situation or a community is to calm our own reaction, to soothe ourselves, and then generate a sense of peace. So this last week, at the beginning of the week, I had these memories that kind of just came out of nowhere and filled my mind. These memories from years ago. And when that happens to me, I have to pay attention because I'm like, it's probably something that I'm supposed to speak about on Sunday. So sure enough, all these memories came forth, and so I want to share them. So many years ago, I worked in social services in Northern California. It was a long time ago, way before I found Science of Mind teaching. And I had a boss who was a new hire. She was my immediate supervisor, and I felt she was just extremely controlling. I felt like she didn't really listen to me, didn't appreciate me, and it was just, I was in reaction to all of that, and we just clashed. We just clashed. It wasn't great. As I look back on some of those things, it wasn't like what they say, my finest moment, but I was in reaction, you know? I just felt really, that was my perspective. I felt really, disregarded. So she ended up leaving, and then I got a job transfer to San Diego. That's actually how I ended up down here. And met this new female boss, and she was the same way. Different part of the state. I don't think they'd ever met each other. Maybe they talked on the phone, I think back on it. But I just felt really controlled. I felt like I was disregarded, and I will say I sort of calmed down my reaction a bit, but I was reacting. I was plugged in, and it was a big reaction. And then I think she left before me, and then I spent 1 year, a stint in the corporate world for various reasons, but I spent a year there, and sure enough, the same boss followed me. And it was a different industry. They were completely different people. But we got into this thing of I felt so controlled and devalued. Now, luckily, at this time, I had found science of mind, religious science, and I was attending attending gatherings of this philosophy, and I was in Foundations, the course that I had just talked about. It was in Foundations, so it caused me this teaching and this course to look at myself and to realize I had never thought of this before, but that I was, this is kind of hard to say all these years later, I was the common denominator in all these relationships. It was me. And I thought, wow, and I'd never put that together before. I just thought, gosh, I have a bad luck with bosses because it's their fault, right? It's certainly not my fault. So then I started to realize, I created this. I had a role in this, right? And the deeper I looked at it, and this was the Foundation experience, the deeper I looked at it, the more I realized I was playing out my relationship with my own mom. And that was something that takes me a lot of courage to say to you after so many years that I was. And I realized that it was the same dynamics. How many of you have been in relationships like that with reaction? How many of you, if you were honest, would raise your hands? Reaction. Might be feeling it now. Or you can point a time in which you were feeling it. The universe brought forth these relationships to me for my healing. Took a while, right? Took 3 for the universe to get its message across to me. So this is a book, a oneness book that I've been reading. If you've been around lately, you know I've been reading it. Let me read this of what he says, which I read this last week, or what she says. It's channeled through some light beings. You can anticipate catastrophic clashes with certain human beings. How many can relate to that? You can experience catastrophic clashes with certain human beings as each is assisting the other in what only can be described as a birthing process. By triggering the release of energies that either of you may be carrying forth from another aspect of reality, you take each other by the hand, vibrationally, as each emerges with heightened consciousness. I'm going to read that again. You can anticipate catastrophic clashes with certain beings, as each of you is assisting the other in what can only be described as a birthing process. By triggering the release of energies that either of you may be carrying forth from another aspect of reality, you take each other by the hand vibrationally as each emerges with heightened consciousness. Another way of saying that is the universe sets us up. It's naive, it's somewhat immature. It's not really developed to be in reaction and think it's the other person's responsibility. That's maybe the first level. That's the first level. But as you and I do our inner work, we come to realize that we have participated in the creation of that, And I think how I view my experience was, or it was set up just for me, for my own healing, for my own healing. Lately I've been thinking, lately what I think about why I'm here or why we're here on the planet, my latest thinking about that is I think we're here to move from isolation and separation and judgment of one another into connectedness, into intimacy, into unity. I think that's our path. To move from that which separates us to an experience of ultimate unity, which addresses the oneness of the universe. It addresses the oneness of the universe. So for us to engage with another, connect or be intimate or be in connection with another, requires that we bring our whole self. So I carried around, and maybe in some degree still do, that energy pattern that my mom and I formed together. And it was an energy pattern within me that got activated. If not necessarily that it was true, but if I felt like I was being controlled or disregarded, then that energy pattern would rise up in me, right? And it would rise up for healing. Now, Ernest Holmes, the founder of our philosophy, says that healing is simply revealing our wholeness. That's what healing is. So when we're healed, what we really do is allow the wholeness that is within us to rise up. That's what healing is for Ernest Holmes. We just discover and experience and open to our own healing. And we can really only connect with someone else on a significant level when we bring our whole selves. When we bring parts of ourselves, it's not a full connection, but it's all of us. It's all the parts of ourselves. So this work that those people that cause reaction in us to have, it's really important work. It's really the universe, the divine, calling us to experience our greater wholeness. Not to stay stuck in reaction or in blame or in anger. Maybe like many of you, I grew up thinking that the will of God, God's will for me, was somehow outside of me. It wasn't something that was a part of me, and I needed to change myself in order to try to mold to God's will. And it usually wasn't fun, and it usually involved giving stuff up. How many can relate to that? It's like that will outside of us that we were taught we have to forget who we are and embrace this thing that's outside, this energy that's outside of us. Where I think really a more developed understanding of the will of the divine for us is that the divine will for us is to experience our expansion, our greatness, our magnificence, to experience love and peace in ways that we've not known them before. That's the divine will for us. So what kind of gardener plants a bunch of roses and doesn't want their roses to be beautiful? Of course they do, right? They cultivate it, they pay attention. That's like the divine within us wants to cultivate us so that we are more expanded in terms of prosperity and love and freedom. However, the rub comes in, because for that to happen, we have to let a hell of a lot go. And that's painful. And that hurts. We have to step back when we're so activated. step back and not judge or blame, but look at ourselves and bring ourselves to a point where the reaction dissipates and we move into an experience of love. So this work is simply healing old wounds and old scars in us. That's the work. It's really, psychologists tell us this. It's never really about the person that's in front of you when we have these kinds of reactions. It's something deep in the past that got activated. So here's a great way to learn if you're stuck in an energetic pattern with someone else. It's their fault. It's their fault. That's a great way. Now, I'm not saying we let people walk all over us. I'm not saying we don't make other people accountable. I'm not saying that kind of thing. I'm not saying we play victim to other people. I'm not saying that. However, notice in a relationship where you feel reactive and you feel like you may not be being treated right, what happens when you change your own energy in that relationship? What happens? I'll bet you the other person changes. So we bring forth the creative spaciousness of peace and love. We bring it forth within ourselves. So a couple steps in terms of moving from reaction in relationship to a sense of peace or love. The first was, and I'll just share from my own experience, for me it was very enlightening to realize I had had 3 of these types of relationships in a row, and I was the common denominator. It's like that guy that's had his 3rd divorce, and he goes into the therapist, and he says, during my 3rd divorce, I realized I had continued marrying my mother. It's an awareness that we're playing out something in this relationship that has nothing to do with this relationship. And that we're in this relationship specifically because the universe is calling us to heal. The universe is calling us, is calling forth our own wholeness. So it's to realize, boy, I'm responsible for what's happening here. My part, I'm responsible. So what if I clean up my side of the fence? So that's the first thing. The second thing is to feel the feeling. So that's what I did. I reframed this. I had three relationships that, with these bosses that were very, very similar. So I thought, okay, then what if I was the cause of it and not them? What if I took ownership and realized the divine is wanting to heal something in me or heal something in me, bring forth wholeness. So that's a reframing. So I reframed it. I thought of it differently. What that allowed me to do was feel the feelings, not with the story, but divorce the story and the feelings. Feel the feelings without being attached to the story. When we do that, we no longer need the story. So what happens is the story gets diffused of its energy. Gets diffused. It goes away. And we're able to come to terms with what the original wound was that needs our attention. I don't know why, but I can't help but think that our nation now is being called for great healing. Not for blame, not for judgment, not for taking sides. That's the first maybe initial response. But for us, and it starts individually, it goes from individually to relationships, to family, to spiritual community. where we take care of our own reactions. And we bring forth a different framing and a different energy. Because the truth is, you and I are always emanating energy out. We just are. So is it conflict? Is it judgment? Is it confusion? Is it peace? Is it love? So if you remember anything this morning, I'm really asking you to remember to take those postcards and post them out, circulate them, is to realize when you're in reaction, the divine is calling you to heal. So I'm going to conclude. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. There's another reading here from the Book of Oneness that is great that I want to read. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a breath in. Oh, and then let me just say this. Borghild will be in the second room on the left about 10 minutes after our gathering for anyone who wants a healing prayer. So she'll be there. Okay, take a deep breath right in your heart. Let your heart open again. Then there comes a moment in the heat of your desperation and reaction when you call a timeout and you withdraw from the cycle of illusion that swirls around you, and you find that after all the drama, all the reaction, that the stillness within is still there, waiting. It never left you. You did. And you scattered a mind-boggling trail of chaos behind you. So that when all else fails, as it inevitably does, you find your way home. So take a deep breath right into the center of your being, right into your heart space. And just relax. Just let go into your open heart. Call forth the stillness. Call forth the wholeness, the peace that's always there. Just call it forth now. Let it soothe any reaction, any raging fire within, any conflict, any feeling of less than. Let this energy, this wholeness, this grace move through you in such a way that you calm, that you center, that you're a emanator of peace, of love, of wholeness, of community. So let's experience that now.
We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of Just as sure as the sun will rise, I know that Spirit watches over me, and I know that I'm protected from any harm that comes to be. We are held in the hands of grace. Put your trust and your faith in God, and you will never be alone again. When your heart becomes connected to your soul, then you will be free to be held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. When your heart becomes connected to your soul, you will be free to be held in the hands of grace, to be held in the hands of grace, to be held in the hands of grace. Thank you.
James Higgins and our house band. Sounds of Fire. I like that. Yeah. That's good. Let's ask Gino to change your name. Sounds of Fire. Does that be good? So, I know. So I want to take a moment and thank all of you that financially support our center. I see a lot of you out there, and I know a lot of you support our center financially. And you make this space happen. You make this space happen. So I'm grateful. We are here, our community is here to experience divine love in ourselves and in each other, and then we become a transformative presence in the world. That's our purpose as spiritual community. So everything we do should be supporting love. Love of self, love within each other, and love for our planet. So when you financially support us, you're supporting the work of love on the planet. You're supporting transformation. You're actually financing transformation. So in the midst of all that's going on in our nation, if you feel like, I don't know what to do, give money to our center. Because you're supporting the work right there. You're supporting the work. So those of you who give, thank you. If you come here regularly and you don't give, now's the time to start giving. It just is. So let's all place our hands over our heart. Let's take a deep breath right into your heart. So we just feel it open, so full of love, so full of presence, so full this moment of gratitude. So we just take a moment and we bless all the ways we give out, whether the gift is to our heart right now or all the other ways we give out. We just bless our giving. We know that it's making a difference on our planet. So please repeat after me. As I give out, I receive. As I receive, I give out. The divine happening as me.
Thank you, God, for everything. hands with me? And so a mighty thank you. A mighty thank you, God, for everything, for the gifts in this basket, that they are multiplying, that they are filling our space and the world around us. I'm so grateful for these gifts, so grateful that they were given with love and intention, and so it is.
Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Oh, thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you.
All right. I invite you to stand. Thank you, James Higgins. Thank you, Devavani. Thanks, House Band. Thank all of you for being here. So let the hands that we hold be a symbol of our connection with everything and everyone, all beings everywhere. So we take a moment and we pause before we re-enter the fullness of our lives, and we feel the connection with each other, with the divine, with ourselves, with all beings everywhere. We're just open to it. We feel it. We let this connection rise up as wholeness, as love. So let's let it rise up. Let's just send a mighty blessing out, a mighty blessing of love and peace out to our nation in this moment. Blessing all the beings in our nation. Mighty, mighty intention of love. We send it out to the world as we say. And so it is.
Sing it. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. And I shine and I shine. And I shine and I shine so bright. And I shine and I shine and I shine so bright. You are a light in this world. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. Oh, you are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. And you shine and you shine and you shine so bright. And you shine and you shine and you shine so bright. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. We are a light. We are the light. We are the light in this world. And we shine and we shine. And we shine and we shine so bright. And we shine and we shine and we shine so bright. Have a great day, everybody.